everyone, it's Pastors Jen and Jacob here connecting with you digitally again. It is good to see you all in our mind's eye. So in honor of St. Patrick's Day this week, we are both wearing green, and we thought it might be fun to share with you some thoughts that we have about the stories and legends surrounding St. Patrick. So for those of you who don't know, the story is that St. Patrick was originally living in Britain, but was captured at the age of 16 by Irish pirates, taken to Ireland, and enslaved for 6 years. He eventually escaped and went back to his family, but then he became a clergyman and returned to Ireland to preach the gospel. I think that is such an interesting story because it really goes to show that life sometimes completely interrupts your plans. Frightening things can happen to us. We can be taken out of our own reality and forced to do something that we really never wanted to do or imagined doing. And yet, those moments of trauma, change, challenge, hardship can set us on a completely different path, and that can still be used to spread the good news of Christ. That path can lead us to places that we never imagined, and that path can ultimately become something that is who we are. That's something that that path allows us to develop a new voice. And so I think in this time, when we are all going through things that we never expected to go through, when we are taken out of the reality that we were experiencing just a week ago, and now we're living a completely different reality, it is good to think of how St. Patrick also found himself in a world that he never expected to, and good and love ultimately triumphed in his life. And I have great faith that it will also triumph in our lives.
Yeah. There's another funny legend about St. Patrick that when he was traveling and preaching, he'd always carry a walking stick with him. And when he would stop to preach to a community, he would plant the stick in the ground. But he would take so long preaching that the walking stick would not come back out because it would take root in the ground. He had been there that long.
Those were some long sermons.
Yeah, I think beyond just the fact that preachers can be long-winded sometimes, I like this idea that St. Patrick was really intentional when he was with communities, and that he took the time to connect with people no matter how long it took, and that his time in those spaces when he was with people allowed him to be rooted in those communities and to be rooted where he was. And so I think that's true for all of us. Where we are now, the city we live in, the community we're a part of, the church we belong to, even if we've been here just a few months or we've been here our entire lives, we have started to take root, or our roots are growing. And so even when we are isolated during this time, I think it's important to think about the ways in which we are rooted in this place and the ways in which our roots nourish the soil that we're in. Because our roots can give nutrients and life to this greater ecosystem. Mm-hmm. And even while we are distancing ourselves from each other, we're still nourishing each other, we're still providing nutrients to each other. Again, whether that's through a phone call or through connecting with someone online, we've got to be thinking about how our roots are nourishing our wider ecosystem. And when something's rooted, it needs fresh air and sunlight in order to grow. So I hope that you all are taking care of yourselves and having moments where you are outside getting some sunlight, taking just a quick breath in and out, and making sure that you are able to stay rooted and not be too much in our minds and have too much anxiety, but to know that we are here right now and we'll get nourishment from that. So some tips from St. Patrick in honor of St. Patrick's Day.
And I'll just say that I'm so grateful that we are rooted here in this community in this time and place.
For sure.
Who could have guessed that when we moved to California that we would have come this far and been on this journey with you together? But I feel so blessed that we are here and that our roots have grown strong already in this community. This is our home, and you are our people, and we're just really grateful that that is our reality.
Amen.
Amen. So we'll see you next time. And remember, if there's anything that you need, we are here for you. The church is still alive and working, because the church is not a building. The church is not one particular place. The church is all of us together. And that doesn't need a building that doesn't need a place to gather. It really just requires us staying connected. And so we hope that you feel connected to us, and then if you have needs, that you feel comfortable voicing those needs to us via phone call or email or text, on social media, and we are here to help meet those needs.
See you soon.
Bye-bye.